Over in the state of Michigan, a woman who is both a county election official as well as a former township clerk was convicted of tampering with ballots during the 2020 election cycle. Specifically, during the recount process, this woman, using her official access, spoiled a batch of ballots in order to make them ineligible to be counted again. Although, to really explain what happened here, let me back up for a quick moment and set the stage for you properly. To start with, this right here is Miss Kathy Funk. She's a Democrat, and back in the year 2020, she was both the Flint, Michigan township clerk as well as an election official. And in August of 2020, she was up for re-election as the clerk of Flint Township. Now, just on the surface, you might already see a bit of a conflict of interest here, because this woman, she was both on the ballot for re-election, but she was also an election official herself, in charge of conducting her very own election. Regardless, no one seemed to really mind, and so that's how things were set up. So the August election took place, and in an unofficial count, Ms. Kathy Funk won her re-election. However, her margin of victory was extremely slim. The tally showed that the votes were 2,698 to 2,619, meaning that Ms. Kathy Funk won that election by just 79 votes. And so with such a slim margin, her opponent, Ms. Manya Triplett, was considering asking for an official recount. However, this is where things, you can say, got a little bit weird, because before a recount could actually take place, Ms. Kathy Funk, who again herself at this time was an election official, she filed a police report with the local Flint Township Police Department claiming that there was a break-in at the elections office and that an official seal on one of the canisters containing ballots had been broken. She claimed that someone had broken into the office and then subsequently broke an official seal on one of the batches of ballots. And the reason that this was so important is because it made an actual recount completely impossible. Because you see, under section 168.871 of Michigan state law, this is the relevant law that governs recounts, it says the following, quote, "The Board of Canvassers conducting a recount shall recount all ballots of a precinct using an electronic voting system unless one or more of the following circumstances exist." And then right underneath that, the very first circumstance that's listed under which a recount cannot take place says the following, quote, "The seal on the transfer case or other ballot container is broken or bears a different number than that recorded on the poll book. The breaking or discrepancy is not explained to the satisfaction of the Board of Canvassers, and security of the ballots has not been otherwise preserved." And wouldn't you know it, that is exactly what happened. Since the seal on those election ballots were broken, the challenger had to give up her intention of conducting a recount. And as such, Ms. Kathy Funk was certified as the official election winner. However, what's interesting to note is that Kathy Funk did not remain as the township clerk for very long. Instead, shortly after the election, she actually resigned her position as the Flint Township clerk to instead become the Genesee County's election supervisor, the top election official within the entire county. However, her life in public service was cut short. That's because, as I alluded to earlier, according to the Michigan Attorney General, well, there was no random break-in at the elections office in the year 2020. Instead, after conducting a full investigation, the Michigan Attorney General found that it was Ms. Kathy Funk herself who broke the seals and the ballots so that a recount was impossible. Here was what the official statement from the Attorney General's office in Michigan said when announcing the charges. Quote, "The former Flint Township clerk faces felony charges related to the August 2020 primary. The Department of Attorney General alleges that Kathy Funk purposely broke a seal on a ballot container so that the votes inside, under Michigan election law, could not be counted in an anticipated recount. Funk was running for re-election and narrowly prevailed in the unofficial count." Ms. Kathy Funk then had 2 charges lobbied against her, ballot tampering as well as misconduct in office, both of which I should mention are felonies, each punishable by up to 5 years in prison. But don't worry, she got nowhere near 10 years in prison. Instead, what appears to have happened is that the first charge, the ballot tampering charge, was somehow dropped, and she pled no contest to the second charge, misconduct in office. And then, after a year of legal back and forth, Ms. Kathy Funk was sentenced to, quote, 2 years probation, 6 months of house arrest and tether compliance, a $1,000 fine, and $1,000 in court fees, and Ms. Funk must issue a written letter of apology to the voters of Flint Township. And as a justification for why she was given such a light sentence, light compared to what it could have been, the judge in the case said the following to her at the actual sentencing, quote, "I'm sure there's a segment of the population that thinks you should be locked up for calling into question the integrity of an election. And if we had unlimited jail space, perhaps that's true, but we don't." And so there you have it. Tampering with the ballots, making a recount impossible, and falsifying a police report will lead to probation, a $1,000 fine, And you will have to write a letter of apology, because after all, our jails are full. That is, if nothing else, amazing. If you'd like to read the details regarding this particular case, I'll throw the links to all my research notes. You'll be able to find them down in the description box below, which I should mention is that description box right below those like and subscribe buttons, both of which I hope you take a quick moment to smash so that the YouTube algorithm will be quite literally forced to share this video out to ever more people. All right, just to pause here for a super quick moment, here's a question. Why is it that we live in such an advanced era of human history in terms of both technology as well as medical breakthroughs, but you still have millions and tens of millions of Americans who are more unhealthy and more overweight than ever before? Well, according to board-certified physician Dr. Amy Lee, who is also an expert nutritionist, one of the main reasons is that currently 3 harmful foods are being passed off as health foods all over the country. These 3 particular foods can cause weight gain, clog your digestive tract, deplete your energy, wreck your skin, and they're even banned in other countries. And yet, here in the US, they're not only legal, but they're actually being promoted as being healthy. If you want to find out what these 3 fake health foods are, just head on over to 3harmfulfoods.com/Roman B. Over on that page, Dr. Lee explains how to stop and reverse the damage to your body by simply learning which 3 foods to avoid and how to spot them when you're shopping. And by doing so, you can experience easier weight loss, smoother digestion, and more energy. And so again, that's the number 3harmfulfoods.com/Roman B. I'll also throw the link down into the description box below. And lastly, if you enjoyed today's content and you're just thinking to yourself, man, I love this episode and I love the episodes in general here on YouTube, I just wish Roman would publish more episodes every single week. Well, you're in luck, because I do. Over on Epoch TV, our awesome no censorship video platform, I publish anywhere between 1 to 3 exclusive episodes of Facts Matter every single week, usually on topics that are unfortunately too spicy for here on YouTube. And so if you'd like to get access to those exclusive episodes, including a huge backlog from the last 3 years, well, you're in luck, because the Epoch Times is running a phenomenal promotional sale. Just 25 cents a week for the whole year, which, if you do the math, works itself out to just be about a single $1 a month. And so if you want to take advantage of that sale and get access to all that exclusive content, well, the link is right there at the top of the description box below. You can just click on that link. It'll take you to the sale page where you can try the Epoch Times for, again, just around a single $1 a month. Hope you check it out, and hope that you join us over on the Epoch Times website. And then until next time, I'm your host, Roman from the Epoch Times. Stay informed. Most importantly, stay free.